so early, as you probably saw just a little bit ago in the video, we got chased off by the rain, jerkbait stuck in my ass, which sucked, but got it out. That's good. So the whole goal was to get out there for like 2 hours yesterday, right before that storm. Storm moved in about an hour early, so we got caught in it. Had to stop. So now we're gonna go do it again and give it about an hour. I know where there are some big largemouth. I had eyeballs on 4 of them, some massive beasts. But with all that rain and runoff, the water's definitely stained. We're post front. Water's about 2 to 3 feet lower than it was last night. So we'll see if these largemouth are in the same spot. I'm gonna try to be a little stealth on them. If they're there, they're there. If they're not, they're not. We're gonna see what we can put together. All right, guys. Got him. That's a good one too. Oh yeah, don't go in the trees. Don't go in the trees. It's a beast. All right. She's a good one. And we caught her on the old hover rig. So let's let her go. So that one was caught on the hover rig. So I'll explain at the end of the video what this is that I'm fishing with. I really love this bait. This thing is really working out great. Now it really works good, especially like this where there's a lot of sunken trees and shrubs and grass. So you can kind of float it, it's weedless. You can kind of float it and it glides across the top of that. Irresistible, I think. Just the action that you get on it. And there's so many different ways you can fish it. You can fish it vertically. You can cast it out and it glides. You can drop it over the top of a brush and jig it, and it glides around, and it's very stealth, looks very natural in the water. stay on, stay on. Oh, come on, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's a beaut right there. Hover rig. All right. It's about 4.5. So how that happened, I was running my frog in here, and he chased it off the bank, but then he wasn't interested. Two more casts. So when I saw him come back, I was frogging over there. I reached out, grabbed the old hover rig, and shazam. Whoa! Oh boy, this is a good one. Oh boy. Oh shit. Ah. The old hover rig, another beast. They just can't resist the hover rig. So, all right. Yeah, buddy. Oh, the hover rig. It's doing its job today. It's oh. There's a bunch of different ways you can fish this bait. Man, right now I'm almost kind of drop shotting it in a way. just kind of because it flutters and hovers down, and it's really, when you're giving it no action, it gives it action. Just by the way it circles and glides on its way down. The fish with that hover rig, it's swimming the whole time. Okay, as promised, you guys in a lot of my reports and some fishing, you'll hear me mention hover rig, and I don't believe a lot of people know what this technique is. It's great in certain situations, not all. I'm finding more and more that it works, and finding some better ways, not better ways, but more ways and more options to fish this, because I love to fish it. Drop shot's been, one of my favorites, but dang, the hover rig is starting to get right there. I like drop shotting on the smallmouth, and I think for out here in the desert, the hover rig for the largemouth, I think, is doing really well. So what you can use a bunch of different baits, and you can experiment with them. I, for one, my favorite is the flush or the whale from 6 Cents. This is the flush watermelon gill, because obviously the bluegill are spawning right now. They're kind of out and about, and they're starting to make a month late, but they're out there. So this is just a 5.2 inch soft jerk bait by 6 Cents. It's the flush. The whale works good for that too. I haven't decided which ones I like better, but right now this color works good. It comes in a bunch of different colors. And so what the hover rig is this is the jig, I guess you can call it. So as you can see, it's weighted. This is a 1/0 hook. This one is a 3/64. Yeah, that's right. I said it right. That's an odd one. 3/64. You can see the hook shank does a 90 through the weight, and then it's got this weedless, and it's metal. So I actually like this. I don't really miss many bites, and I can't attribute to missing really any because of this, but I can drag it through grass, and drag it atop grass and branches and trees and whatnot, and it works real well. So how you rig this bait has a slot right here. That's another reason I love this bait, because you want to get that weight in there. So what I like to do is you have to find it where it's not going to sit horizontal when you're just holding it in the air. It's probably going to sit like that, but it will sit horizontal in the water. And that's where, whatever one of these soft baits that you're using, you're going to want to figure out where to get the eyelet to come out of the top here to make your bait float horizontal when you're doing nothing. Because what that does, that's giving it its glide and the action. I mean, you just give it one little pop and this thing has action for days. It looks like a live fish down there, a live bait. Just the action on it from the hover. And especially because you can just hover it right over, sunken trees, grass, logs. You can hover this thing right above these guys, and they can't resist it. It just seems like when I see a good fish and I get it in front of it, he eventually just is going to eat it. They just can't resist it. So to go on to rigging this, now what I do is I peel that open. This one happens to fit just perfect behind this fin, and then this fin on the top, this dorsal, is also split. That's why I like this flush. Everything sits flush. So the top of the dorsal fin is actually split, and the hook just rests right in there. So what I like to do is figure out, now I'll take that weedless and pull it back this way and separating it from the hook. So I've got it leaning against the eyelet. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick the hook through first. So now I've got that where it's gonna go. I've got that where I want it. Now I'm going to peel that back and stick the weedless wire through first, right through the top. Push the weight and the eyelet in. So now you just think it's sitting right in that slot. Now you've got your hover rig. Your eyelet will sink back in. So you're gonna have to push your eyelet up through to tie your line, but then it sinks back in. So now you've got, this is the profile of your bait now. That's nothing. I run a 7-foot rod, medium to light action, and 8-pound fluorocarbon with this. That seems to be the good setup. As you can see, the weight is tucked in there. Everything's stealth. There's your hook. It's sitting right in between those two flaps on the dorsal fin. So everything, the bait swims how it should. Everything's stealthy. And that, when there's a tough bite, like today, I knew it was going to be a tough bite. We managed to get 3 in the hour that we were at, not we. My wife didn't go this morning, but she did go yesterday. That's a funny video. Make sure you watch that one. I literally get a jerkbait stuck in my ass, and I decide, because I have such a small window before the storm was coming in last night, I got to keep fishing. So I kept fishing with a jerkbait stuck in my ass. I ended up getting it out after about 45 minutes of fishing with it in my rear end. It didn't feel good, but it felt much better when it was out. Ended up getting a couple, and then, man, we got hammered by that storm. We had to me and the wife had to zip back inside and get out of the rain. But anyways, thank you for watching. That's the hover rig. Try some new stuff out there, guys. There's a lot of new baits, a lot of new things. We actually have a lot of these in stock. The flush and the whales and all the soft baits that will go with the hover rig. However, it's very hard to find these. CoreTackle.com has them. So I use this 3/64, in the calm, small backwaters like I was in today. And then if I'm out on the lake, I'll use a 1/4 ounce or even a 3/8. Because then again, I'm fishing 40 feet, 50 feet deep. And, obviously Lake Mojave, as anyone who's ever been there knows, you're more than likely going to be fishing in the wind, and a 3/64 ounce ain't going to cut it. So, yeah, so you can get those at Core Tackle, and then soft baits, we've got them in stock. Get out there and catch a fish, folks, and you guys have a good one. We'll see you in a day or two.